I'd like to call to order the Lower South County Board of Supervisors meeting of December 17, 2025. Ask everyone to join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That brings us to our public comment agenda item. Is there anyone recognized? No one. Move on. I'll take an approval. Motion for the work session meeting minutes of November 19, 2025, and for December 2, 2025.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have no problem with that. It's a draft bill there. Paragraphs I should show that. That's to be specific, I think it's one change out please first one. Kowski uses race cavity for past conclusions. So the first one, yeah, that's the first one. There's a short title in there. I'll make sure I get it to you, but that's
Okay,
so
I'll look through it.
and like we said, that I have no passing, she doesn't really she was about the two that the that.
All right, very good. With that edit, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Public Works Director, Mr. Jones.
Good morning. Just an update on some projects, Burries Mill Road Bridge, still waiting for final completion. I know they were trying to get the deck sealed. I don't know if that's been completed or not.
Is that the holdup?
I believe that is, yes. Well, and I think the county has some issues with some paving and things of that nature, so I don't know that they're significant enough to warrant holding up the opening, but apparently in talking with the construction manager, there was HEK hasn't been the easiest to deal with on this project. So there are still some outstanding issues. I don't know exactly what those are. And I don't have a projected opening date at this point.
Next year, man. That's at least the temperature says something, next 2 or 3
Yeah,
days.
Dave, we're doing the deck.
Well, the deck they were going to heat it. They were putting the heating tubes on it, and covering it to get the deck temperature to an acceptable, but yeah, it might be a little while before that happens. But they had everything covered and then all of a sudden it disappeared. So I don't know if they got the work done or if it was just shelved because of the cold temps. Not sure exactly what's going on there, but I will try to get some more information and keep everyone updated. And also the cleanup and the improvements that we asked for the park have also been put on hold because of the weather and plantings. It's just not a great time. Availability of plants and also doing the work itself is just not ideal at this point. So I've asked them to push that off till the spring. So the new public works facility, unfortunately, don't have any progress to report on that. Our Main Street sidewalk, still waiting for Pico. Apparently the service line for the dentist office was an old lead line. And apparently Pico will not splice into a lead service line. So we have to run back to the transformer. So they're waiting for their subcontractors. Miller Brothers is waiting for their subcontractor, who's the directional drilling boring contractor, to make equipment available to get that work done. So it's still kind of in limbo and nobody has a definitive schedule at this point. I have been with the dentist office personnel, so they are aware of what's going on and they know that we're trying to push as hard as we can on our end to get this done as quickly as possible, but just don't have any idea at this point. So
I've had a lot of people inquire about that, what's going on there, what's going on there. I don't know how many signatory to be, but if there's any way or staff thinks it's put on maybe social media or something, just so people know what's going on. What way is going? Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. So thank you.
sure. Circling back on our winter services agreement, I actually had an opportunity to talk with PennDOT's executive deputy secretary about the agreement. There was a forum that was hosted by PSATs and PennDOT was involved, so I asked the question as to why municipalities don't have input on the agreements, and Just, expressed our concerns and some other considerations and things that we had issues with, and he understood and said that, he was going to look into it and see if there's an opportunity to bring everybody to the table to moving forward so that we can work out something that's mutually agreeable. So progress on that front at least. Spent some time working on reconfiguring the admin offices to try and accommodate the additional staff. So we're close to having a plan in place and pull the trigger on implementing that. So department activities, staff, we met with CKS regarding our upcoming DEP MS4 inspection. We wanted to do just kind of a pre-inspection inspection with CKS. They've gone through this process a number of times with their other municipal clients. So we did a walkthrough of Public Works. We sat down and talked about websites and information they might ask and those kinds of things. So it looks like we'll be in pretty good shape. There's no really glaring issues or outstanding concerns. A couple of minor issues, but those kinds of things, it's always nice to let them find a little nugget rather than a big nugget. This way that maybe they don't dig as deep. So that's where we are with that. Over the weekend, it was pretty eventful. We had 7+ inches of snow, but it was really 1 to 3. It's always a moving target.
Shaking the rust off, all the equipment held up, any issues?
Minor issues, nothing major, no big issues. We're fortunate that we're able to bring in, we have 4 additional plow drivers that come in. We have the equipment for them to utilize, so our operation is pretty efficient.
Well, you did a great job, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, there were some hiccups, and there's always room for improvement, and we're looking at those areas and trying to, I think one of the biggest challenges on street parking in some of these neighborhoods. It's extremely difficult, especially when you get 7 inches of snow, figuring out where to put it. And some of these cul-de-sacs, there is literally 10 feet of open space that's not driveway, and trying to maneuver all the snow into that spot, which is generally as you first pull in, it's right here to the, or on either side. All the driveways are there where you want to push it, where it's easiest to push. So it becomes a time-consuming effort. But, we had some conversations with, and we have some new drivers, so there's always some challenges with that, getting everybody up to speed. But we're working on it. There's, like I said, a couple of routes, a couple of neighborhoods there. Some things could be differently, so we're looking at opportunities and, is there a better way to skin this cat? Try to figure out what can we do with parked cars during the event? Is there a better way to notify? Is it, I don't know, or is it just something that we can try to do some education in advance of the events and, put flyers out saying, here's what we expect you to do. Make our job easier, help us to help you. Because then, you will go through some of the neighborhoods with all the cars parked. Once they move them, we're reluctant to go back in and then just keep pushing things into people's driveways again, because that just adds to the frustration, especially when it's frozen and ice chunks and things of that nature. So we're looking at something, some opportunities that maybe that can benefit everyone. So trying to work on some storm sewer projects, but that's difficult with this time of year with the snowfall. But other than that, Merry Christmas, Tom. That's all I have.
The gift that
Except
keeps
for
on
that's a
giving.
couple of issues.
Good morning. First item is main inquiry. We were asked to there's a little bit of an echo, Mike. I don't know. Let's see how that goes. We were asked to look at Main Street and Quarry Road American Way for a left turn advance. We did look through the counts that we have from the TST project from 2023. All approaches were reviewed, and the westbound Main Street approach does meet the warrants for the 3 periods, AM, PM, and Saturday midday. So with that, we also looked at the mast arm. There's no issues with adding the signal head to accommodate a left turn advance arrow. So that would require us to modify and submit the signal permit plan and the system permit plan for that additional phase. along with obviously the synchro calculations. And going through the PennDOT TSP, but it's fairly straightforward. And we do think, given the minor improvement, it could be done as part of the maintenance contract with Higgins, since it would likely stay under the threshold for bidding. So very conservative estimate would be in the 8 to 10,000 range for the new signal head and the work to be done by Higgins, but then that's just our estimate. So it does look like it meets it. And Joe and I talked about it, and we wanted to just discuss that with the board at this point, as if we find out if that is something we should be moving forward with for that adjustment. Any questions?
Points on traffic numbers that are close to 3 years old, so. Yeah, and we have a new number. It's only getting up. That's. It's not now, then, so we can bring the full number and go better.
So we would recommend being able to submit those counts instead of doing new counts. Obviously, they are 2 to 2.5 years old. Once we get to 3, they will ask for new counts. I think if we can turn that around quickly, and it should not be an issue, and that would, should go pretty smoothly with that information. And then the next thing on my list was,
I'll make a motion to authorize the staff moving forward with the installation of left turn arrow by submission to PennDOT and then contract with things per the letter of the memo of December 10th, 2025, prepared by Melvin.
Second. Move the second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. The second item is the discussion just on the Moyer Road and Oak Drive always stop analysis. I actually just got told that the counts are done and they're processed, and they just got sent to us this morning. So haven't had a chance to look at them yet. But the counts are finished. And we just wanted to talk about a couple things with that intersection, because it's just not quite as straightforward as Upper Mainland and Morris. With the left turn lanes that are out there existing. So the counts are done. We'll look at whether or not the left turn lanes remain warranted. And if the always stop, aside from the accident data, what that tells us. Obviously the geometry of the intersection is a little challenging with putting up an always stop, and we have some other concerns with certain times of day. So one being the PM peak hour, as those left turns are coming off of Main Street and they're queuing up, even though they would be able to stop and go. Generally, we want to make sure we're not creating another problem with a queued up traffic between Moyer and Main, certainly in the PM, because that's a heavy movement. So we'll take a look at all of that and make a recommendation. In the meantime, I know Doug mentioned to me there is cross traffic does not stop signs are posted on Moyer Road, but there's no stop bars at that intersection. That might be an interim improvement depending on the results of the counts and the analysis. If we look at potentially adding stop bars on Moyer, maybe could be something similar to up at Yoder Road with the 5 bars. Depending on the results, it's just interim improvements that might help people understand that they need to stop or stop and then look for traffic. We'll see what it results in, but I did want to provide a brief update that it's not quite as straightforward as just making it a 4-way without some other potential adjustments because of the geometry and the striping, and what we would need to do to make it a safe intersection out there.
Is the people not stopping there or pulling out in front of us? Campers now. Is there any data on that? I don't know.
Probably a pump stop would go.
Well, I think that because I just noticed, because we were talking about the intersection, your 8 color on your, at least on my vehicle, lines right up with the road coming from Main Street. And I'm thinking people look quick, the car is probably behind the 8 color and pull out of them. I have a feeling it's probably most of the problem. So, the extra bars and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if it's gonna help. I think it's just because we're not looking around the 8 color you know, to see if the cars now.
And most of the crashes were in that direction.
Right, and so it just lines right out, I just noticed it now, like, oh, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, so that's probably what's going on. Put a sign up and look around for 8 minutes.
You don't need to find your killer for.
Yeah, I'm not like they are, yeah.
I can tell you just from experience, I have that balance. But just talking about it, I'm more mindful that I do it, but anytime somebody's coming out there, I'm going out. I'm ready to you know, and perhaps part would work some degree, but people don't stop, they don't stop past the stop. sign.
Yeah, it's a road, go to the right and they're all.
But it's definitely, I think they will make a big improvements.
So you'll drive it down, so you'll get back to us with.
Yep. Very soon. Yep. We're able to get them obviously all done before the holiday, so we'll have that, at least a preliminary understanding of what it looks like out there, I would think pretty soon. Mhm.
Anything else for Stephanie or Public Works?
So I just want to say again, great job out basically, you know, whether to your crew, it's one thing that I've had since this capacity, but it's not just winter time, people checking market, wherever in summer. Oh, I know where lower south are, these people, and always tell in winter time on roads. So it's a testament to you and your crews.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Very good, moving right along.
Yes, sir.
Police chief.
Brief hiring update. The one background that resulted from the first round of interviews is going very well. Not a lot of application. We extended the deadline to December 31, and just a handful of additional applications. So in the next week or two, we'll decide if we have to extend it again, or if that background looks like this is the right candidate. We'll just move forward with the conditional offer and keep everybody apprised.
Good. Anything else for the chief? Very good. Building and zoning director, Mr. Beefy.
Mr. Chairman. So far this month, we have 19 building permits that have been issued. In the last planning commission meeting, which again was the joint meeting, November-December meeting held on December the 10th. The planning commission recommended that the board approve the 488 Harleysville Pike preliminary plan. And so you should see that in your upcoming, potentially upcoming work session in January and the upcoming regular meeting in February for consideration of that preliminary plan. Also at the planning commission, Eric Gerald from the Montgomery County Planning Commission presented the Indian Valley Regional Planning Commission comprehensive plan. One of the biggest takeaway from that is that he recommended that the area on the other side of the turnpike that is surrounded by industrial district is something that I can bring that up. Is something that is recommended for secondary growth area, and I'm gonna share this screen here in a moment. It shows the zoning map. Here we go.
80,000 square foot zone.
So, as I was mentioning, the Indian Valley Regional Planning Commission comprehensive plan, one of the takeaways was that this area right here, which is on the other side of the turnpike, surrounded by industrial another district, would be all or a portion thereof would be considered a secondary growth area. So just expect that to be a future conversation at the planning at our local planning commission level and in future board meetings. Right now, it's just designated as a rural conservation or rural development.
8,000.
And the adjacent area where the white line cuts off in the Franconia also has industrial zoning too, doesn't it? When you're looking at the upper left corner on the other side of Castle Road, you obviously have mounds from the turnpike.
Right.
A couple of residences, and then you get into the bus depot, and that's also an industrial area down here, schoolhouse. So it's
Right.
sort of a donut hole over there.
Yes.
As I discussed, again, I can only encourage the future board to consider, any kind of future zoning changes, to really look at recodifying our township. Hiring somebody is a costly thing to do, that way we can get more residents, business owners, and really update the entire township. Something you consider, I've mentioned it every time we have events. I just want to throw that out there.
So just to be clear, that's not a zoning amendment. This is a regional planning, which is the comprehensive plan, which is the basis for any discussion of changes in zoning down the road. So this is the first step, which would then have to be acted upon by the regional planning commission. We act on it. There'll be public meetings that people will be able to comment on that. So that's step even before what Kevin was mentioning from that state.
So during the same planning commission meeting, we solidified the dates for the joint meetings for next year for 2026. So those joint dates are August the 12th for the July-August joint meeting planning commission, and December the 9th, 26 for the November-December planning commission joint planning commission meeting. There is no zoning hearing board scheduled for January. And I left for you a document regarding a proposed ordinance amendment regarding signage permitted in the AO district. And this is just to make it a little bit more clear in the zoning ordinance what would be allowed in the AO zone district. It would just be the same as what would be allowed in the commercial district, which is very simple. And this would just reinforce what would be otherwise required for the AO district. The way that signage is currently regulated is by district, and the AO district is not specifically listed in the sign ordinance. And so this would specifically put AO district in the sign ordinance. So there's no question as to what would be required on an AO district parcel. So if the board would consider authorizing the advertisement, this would then go to the Montgomery County Planning Commission for review in January, and also be reviewed by our planning commission in the January meeting, with the potential hearing on February, which are regular meeting February for consideration for the words.
Yeah, just one more to consider in regards to this, just a few comments. One thing that we might want to consider also reviewing is possibly electronic changeable signs, height distances. There's a couple other things I was trying to find on this, but I think these were before I went to them. So I know I have a physical copy at home, but they were we redid the sign ordinance back in, I know not over, it wasn't here, it was 2021, 2022-ish, at the request of Mainland Point. There was a lot of, one of the reasons that their arguments, they literally used Shelley Plaza and Henning's signs as examples. Shelley Plaza is not Lower South Township, Henning's signs is efficient, it's completely relevant. However, some of the feedback from the residents was output things worth considering, because we did in regards to lightness illumination. I know it's a lot with the electronic changeable signs. I voted no for it, it did pass, but it's something to consider. I can definitely give you my notes, I'll give it to you, but I think it's worth checking that. And especially because I'm guessing this is just for the AO, it's essentially for the nationwide property. So something that they bring this to you?
No.
Well, that's good that we're going to add, but I think it's worth checking. It was something that there was a lot of residents. Sure, it's how you can find the notes here, but I do know that the council did give some reviews with recommendations against that. You should strongly consider, for aesthetic purposes and all. A lot of the brightness of the sun. I'm pretty sure it was the electronic change.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the Henning sign would not be permitted anywhere.
No, and
That was not permitted to begin with. I mean, that was not something that we could see again.
it's
What Kevin's referring to is the MU district, which is neither the commercial nor the industrial.
No.
Can you please bring up the zoning map so we can see property areas that we're talking about in terms of adding AO to this? And you feel that this is an appropriate location, not any of the other
Correct.
Okay,
because it keeps it simple in the sizes.
you're good with it, Mike, but, all right, so let's look.
Okay, just to, I think the difference on this would be for, like, changeable copy would be the items related to, the fire company has one, the gas pumps. The animation distributed video, the other stuff, 10 prohibits that video screen effect. That would be.
Right, but this is just commercial, not end use, so.
And not to confuse with just, I was referring that is used as an example of why I should make the change with that.
Yeah,
Sure, as I was saying, all right, and it's signed regardless, because it's not. Condition.
Administrative office
Correct.
is, there, and that's.
There's not gonna be any signs probably at the park.
Oh. But you're saying right now, if I was in the administrative office district, and I come in for a sign permit, what ordinance do I follow?
If this is
No,
adopted.
right now, today, if I walk in with a sign permit, what ordinance do I follow?
You mean what are the size requirements?
Yeah.
So in order to have, you have a multiple directory sign that would be allowed. And 20 square feet per establishment on the face of the building.
That's what AO allows right here.
No, that's what the commercial district allows.
He wants to know right now. If I
It's not specific,
there is nothing in the ordinance, what I'm getting to is,
not specific.
there is nothing to enforce sign regulations in the AO district, right?
Correct.
So you need something to do this,
Yes.
and this makes sense.
We have ordinance overall though.
No, we have general regulations.
Okay.
So there is the potential to have enforcement regulations and requirements pertaining to signs allowed in the AO district. However, there's nothing specific for the AO district, so it's an anomaly in our zoning, and we need to make sure to address it here. Yeah.
Before business.
That's it.
I'd like to make a motion that we advertise the amendment.
Second.
Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna,
Oh, say nay.
I'm gonna say negative, because I would like to see more look into this for changeable copies.
Very good.
I'll send that information to you guys.
So just to be clear, the electronic changeable copy signs would not be allowed in the AO district as part of this amendment.
Understood, I feel like if we're gonna take it out, it's a whole.
Thank you. That is all I have for you.
Very good. Any questions or comments?
Michael.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Township manager, Mr. Duprasky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item on your agenda is the resolution 2025 for authorizing execution of agreement, a tri-party agreement. I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Freeman, who's going to give us an update on where that stands.
Sure, for the past several days, we've been attempting to negotiate an agreement with respect to the existing agreement for the purchase of the Alabama property. We were unable to get terms to present to the board this morning. So my recommendation would be to table that matter and then hopefully consider it at a later date.
Here's there's an agreement that is getting close. There are two paths that could go here. I think we've all would like to see this get done before the end of the year. There are some timeframes on some of the other parties to get this done before 12/31. We could either make a motion to authorize the execution of this agreement subject to final solicitor review, which if the agreement was further along, I'd probably be more comfortable with. But since this is the last stated advertised meeting of the year, we would have to look at potentially advertising a special meeting between now and the end of the year to take that action. And it would just be a matter of, is there enough people that will be available for a quorum? Probably between Christmas and New Year's, so there'd be 3 business days in there that you could look at. If that was the case, which would allow what hopefully will be some of the items to be resolved to bring back to us.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, there are a number of terms that still remain open.
They're not technically our terms.
It's not technically the township's terms, but they are being discussed. And I think there's enough discussion remaining where you might want to consider special meeting so that, you know, a more solidified agreement presented to the board and you have an opportunity to kind of really take a look at the firms.
So the question is, anybody travel on the 29th, 30th, 31st, they would be unable to make a meeting, we were having to advertise a special meeting.
And I'm in favor of special meeting as well, I know we discussed it.
What's the issue we're discussing, insurmountable, or are we,
No,
just,
we probably should go into an executive session and discuss that.
However, I think one thing, if due to the timing of the meetings, it's because, you know, people get here and why would have a meeting this time, it should be clear. Everybody that, well, you know, obviously, we want to get done by here, anybody watching this meeting, see that, that's why we're scheduling a special meeting around.
And we'll obviously take a look at the advertisement requirements for a special meeting. It seems to me, I think the purpose needs to be specifically stated, so any folks who might see that advertisement will see the reason for.
And to be clear for anybody watching, this is related to one specific title objection within an agreement we have to purchase the Alabama track, not to the overall agreement for the Alabama track.
So I would agree with that.
Which again is the property that you see on Main Street, Stover Road, adjacent to our.
Good. We agree with this special meeting.
6 o'clock, Tuesday, December 30th.
I can do that.
I can do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Just check.
With you, I'm welcome at 6 a.m. Just saying, the lights are on my bill.
You need a motion to table.
I would make a motion to table resolution 2025-40 to a date certain of 6 p.m. on December 30th at 6 p.m.
I'll second. Move the second and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
The next item on the board, manager's report is board of commission appointments. No changes in general. I did have a discussion with the chairman of the Freedom Valley Medical Rescue. They will be forwarding a recommendation for the Lower Southford opening on that board. Gentleman who lives over in the golf course community, works in the biomedical field. You know, just good fit. We'll get done. Everybody back and makes it. But it'll be done. I believe. Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a need today for executive session?
We do, Mr. Chairman, for an item of real estate and personnel.
And no attention.
Right.
General, truly, sure, Smith, I would love to encourage the board as a future resident, different capacity of this township, to consider the board meetings being 7:30 p.m. Every time at the start of the year. I give the list of the entire Montgomery County, there's not one meeting that starts anywhere after, you know, sooner than 4 p.m. And I would encourage us to kind of go with that, consider that, go to the ordinance. Thanks.
With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Move the second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.